Hey guys, I'm Ense and this is my Grayscale to Color Time Lapse video. This isn't a tutorial necessarily, but I wanted to go through my thought process while working on this drawing. And I will probably get off topic, but that's okay. I hope you find whatever I say helpful, either with your art or in other aspects of your life. And I hope you find this video helpful, even if you're just here to watch the time lapse or for any other reason. Thank you for being here. So this is a drawing I did for my character. His name is Kryn, and he's a character for a visual novel that I was working on in January, but I didn't finish. And so, for many reasons. So his outfit is very unpolished and undecided. That's why his clothes by the end of this aren't really rendered nicely. But just don't look at it, please. So when I started this drawing, I made so many sketches. I looked at references, but I just felt like I couldn't draw that day, and it was just one of those days. I know everyone has one of those days, and it might not have to do with art, but it might have to do with some other craft you do, like cooking, maybe, or something else. But I know everyone has one of those days, and usually it's healthy to step back, or put it down, step back, and leave it for now until you feel better and unfrustrated with it. Go do something else and then come back. That is a good thing. That's a healthy thing to do, and it actually works. But I didn't do this with this drawing. I usually do, but I don't. Sometimes I'm just stubborn, and it's just I don't think it's a good thing, but I didn't step back. I kept working through it. The sketch, I'm still just talking about the sketch. I kept working on it even though I was getting frustrated. I was looking at references, but I couldn't get it to look how I wanted it to look. The pose, I mean. And yeah, but so I settled with a very basic portrait at kind of a high angle. I wanted to include like a more dynamic pose, like with his hands, and well, I don't want to spoil what he does for a living, so I'm not gonna say, but yeah, so that's where I gave up. I just ended up doing a portrait of him, and I wanted to just paint faces anyways, because that's my favorite to paint. I love drawing faces. It's difficult and sometimes frustrating, but it's very fun. So the point of me saying all of that was sometimes you have one of those days or one of those moments that you just can't do something that you love, and you practice and you learn and you're trying to improve, but you just can't get it that day. And it's okay to step back and come back to it. It really does help to refresh your brain, look at other things, do other things. For this painting, when I thought I was done, and it can get frustrating too, to walk away and come back and realize that, oh, how did I not notice that? So that happened to me, but that's the good thing about stepping away and coming back to look at it, because for me in this drawing it was the mouth, and I thought I was done. I finished it up, I exported it, I emailed it to myself, and I sent it to my phone like I usually do, and then I went to get my lunch, and after I came back I noticed the mouth, and I was like, oh no, how did I not notice that? But so I fixed it, and you can see how stepping away from something and coming back to look at it, or whatever you're doing with a fresh pair of eyes or a fresh brain, you can notice things that you didn't notice before, and it's actually very helpful. And also with me, at the beginning of this drawing where I wanted to give up, but I didn't, well, I should have taken a step back, but I didn't. Sometimes you just have to let yourself cook, you know? Like, trust the process and trust in yourself. Trust that you know what you're doing, sometimes. And trust that all that you've learned and studied and all the hard work you've put into it will pay off. And sometimes you just have one of those days or one of those moments where you don't feel like it, but some days, you can have a really good drawing and you feel like you're like almost a professional, but then the next day you can't draw at all and you feel like you're back at square one. But it's just ups and downs. Don't be too hard on yourself and take a break. It's okay. If you really are passionate and love something, you will come back to it, and it will pay off. It will pay off because you want to work on it and you want to put in all of that effort and practice and learning and growing. That's a good thing. Don't stop learning. That's my message. Please delete that. So while working on this drawing, I started to miss my teacher. I took classes for digital illustration and concept art a few years ago, and I really miss the feedback because I got stuck right at the beginning and through the whole drawing. Well, this drawing took me about 7 hours, a little more than 7 hours, but no more than 8. And it's a little embarrassing, and I don't know. Everyone is, no, it's okay. Everyone is at different levels, and everyone has different amounts of knowledge. It's not that it's bad, not at all. If you take way longer or you can draw way faster, it's just a standard that I set for myself, and only for myself. Everyone has different standards or different speed that they expect themselves to be able to do something or draw something in this case. That's why I always believe you should strive to grow as a person and grow your mind, your skills, your craft, whatever you're passionate about, because there's always room to grow. But of course, people who have this mindset didn't always have it, and I am speaking from experience and people around me, and I don't believe it's ever too late to realize and have an open mind, and you can always grow. And I want to keep learning, and I love learning. School, no, not my favorite. I don't want to go back, but learning, it's different. Learning is, you can always learn. There's so many resources on the internet, of course. There's YouTube, there's classes you can take online, and other artists you can learn from, but take it with a grain of salt because you don't know what they know or you don't know what they don't know. So take advice from anyone, but filter it through your own mind. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, take it with a grain of salt. And if it's helpful, then that's good. And if you don't think it's helpful, then that's okay. And you don't have to take their advice, but don't be rude if they were really just trying to help. And by learning and growing and expanding your craft and knowledge, you'll find that you're more capable than you think. And An example again from me is when I took my classes, a lot of the projects were really something that I've never thought I would draw before. Like a project, it was like a person riding on the back of a bear. Like we had to draw that. That was an assignment. Well, it didn't have to be a bear. It could have been, well, I did a wolf and a hunter riding on the back of it. And there was a reference, or there was an example of what your end product should have looked like. And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna fail. I can't draw this. I've never drawn something like this. I'm gonna humiliate myself in front of my classmates. And oh no. But from this, I learned that I am more capable than I thought. And it's just me stopping myself. Because after I watched the class tutorial videos and how to gather reference and things like that they taught, and I got started on mine. At first, of course, it was rough, but then at the end, it turned out okay. Like, it was a person on the back of a wolf, a giant wolf, and I was like really impressed with myself. And there's a lot more. Most of the projects actually were like that, where I thought, I've never drawn something like this, and I don't think I can. But in the end, it turned out way, way better than I thought. And that was possible because I tried, and I kept learning and learned how to do this and that. And of course, feedback, like really, really good professional feedback, is really helpful. And it sticks with me to this day, with this drawing too. And it always helps a lot. So it's okay to let yourself, if you want to try something new, or you're not new, like to art or anything else, let yourself struggle and fail, and then figure out why, and try again. And I just talk about this often, but if you're really passionate, you can do it. You can figure it out. You can get past this hurdle and become better. Yes, let yourself struggle. It's okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about using references, because for this drawing, I used a reference for the pose at first, but then, like I said, I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't draw it that day, so I changed it, and it's less dynamic, but that's okay. That's just what I could do that day. So I used the reference I usually find on Pinterest. Of course, Pinterest is a very good source for references, and I usually don't draw with references at first, but then when I get to a part where I'm stuck and I need a reference, I will try to find a reference that fits whatever I want to draw, or whatever I'm trying to draw, as best as I can. And sometimes it's really hard to find a specific reference, so I suggest try your best, and if you can, shoot your own reference. Like if it's a pose, well, like this, I could definitely have shot this reference myself or had a friend help, but luckily I found a reference that with the similar pose, so I use that instead. And when I say reference, don't be afraid to use as many as you need. Like, there's never enough references. You can never use too many references. That's just not a thing. And if you do, then imagine how original your drawing is. Like, think of it from that perspective, because nothing is original these days. And by original, I mean never thought of before. But most things you see, they had to use references for, so it's just a normal and helpful thing to do when it comes to your art. Well, I guess I can talk about the right way, not right, but a very, very helpful way to use references. I'm not a professional, but this is what I've learned, And I used to not use enough references when I thought I used enough. So there's a lot of misconceptions about using references and how you're cheating or you're stealing when you use references, or like, oh, draw from your imagination. But no. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. There's nothing truly original these days, and that's okay. Because if nothing is original, like truly original these days, then why would you worry about being original? But I mean, I think that if it's truly and wholeheartedly created by you, then that's original in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. So you shouldn't care what other people think or say when you say you use references, or if they ask if you used references. Yeah, you used references, and like, look how amazing it turned out. I mean, even if you don't use references and it turns out really good or not really good, but you like it, and that's okay. Like, don't care what, it doesn't matter what I think, and it shouldn't matter what other people think, because at the end of the day, it's what you think about your drawing or whatever you create. Anyways, back to references. I'm getting off topic. Sorry. I knew this would happen. But okay, use lots and lots of references. Like hundreds. Seriously, hundreds. Because imagine if you're creating a character, or a character for a game. Like, well, that's what I want to do. But imagine, like, what is the world that they live in, and what are the things in that world? What time period is it? You need references for that. What clothing is in that time period? Oh, you need references for that. And like, what machines are in that time period? References for that. Like, and it goes on and on and on. That influences a lot of things, like clothing and like technology and color, like palettes, that, and you need references for all of that. But see, like, you can combine references. Like for this drawing, I used a reference for the pose, like one reference for the pose, and one other reference for the style I wanted, one other reference for the hair, well, yeah, the hair, the style that I wanted, the eyes, the lighting, like multiple references for each. And it's kind of like Frankenstein, I guess. You take a piece from this, you take a piece from that, and you put it together and you make something that only you could have created, because only you thought up to put this together and this together. So I think that's a really good way to use references and to create something quote unquote original. And this is the good thing about using references. When you use references so often, you build your visual library, and your visual library is what you pull from. But of course, you shouldn't always just fully rely on your visual library. Though I'm kind of guilty of that. I do that. But I use references when I get stuck. So even if you create something and you put it out there, it's really precious to you. It's like your baby. I feel the same way. I think everyone feels the same way about art, especially. But of course, it can be related to other things too. But even if, I guess I want to talk about confidence, because I really struggled with this when I just started posting on Instagram, like years ago. I would shake every time. I would like physically be shaking every time, and I would get cold sweats right before I post. And then, because so many things were going through my head, like, is it polished enough. Oh, I don't like how the eye is crooked, or the eyes are different size, or the head is they're like shaped wrong. I was like, all of those things are going through my head, and I was worried about what other people would say. I was worried about bad comments and stuff like that, people who just point things out, people who are mean. And those people do exist. But every time I posted, I never, ever have gotten a bad comment. Maybe I'm asking for it now that I say I've never gotten one, but that's okay. This is what I'm talking about. Even if you post something, even if I say I love it and it's amazing and you did a really good job and I'm being very, very truthful and honest and I really believe that you are amazing, and even if your friend says that or some stranger says that, if you aren't confident about what you put out into the world and what you show people, it's not good, quote unquote good, at the end of the day, because it's not good to you. Even if other people say that it's amazing. So try to build that confidence in yourself, because it's only holding you back. So the point of what I'm saying here is, don't strive for external validation, because like I said, even if everyone in the world or everyone around you likes what you made and says you're amazing, at the end of the day, if you don't believe that, then what everyone else says doesn't matter. And the same can be said, of course, for if everyone else, or if usually just like one or two people say, wow, this is terrible, you're terrible at drawing, oh, why do you even do this? But you don't believe that, and you think what you did is really, really good, and you love it, and you put your heart and soul into it, then what they say doesn't matter at all. It's usually one or two people who say things like that out of the hundreds and thousands of people who love what you made. Or maybe less than that. It's okay. Maybe one or two people say that you did amazing. But just know, not everyone says what they think. So just try and choose to believe that most people are nice. Oh yeah, posting online is like working customer service, because you're putting yourself out there, and there's some nice people and there's some bad people. Like before work, you would worry that, what's today gonna bring, what kind of people? But at the end of the day, usually there's like only one, or most of the time it's none, and most people are very, very nice. So try to believe that and have that outlook on people. I am very much learning this, and this is something I am working on too, because I usually have a negative outlook, especially on people, but I've definitely gotten better to have a more positive outlook on people and be more understanding and empathetic, because you don't know what someone's going through. Like, maybe when they criticize your art in a bad way, they're just self-projecting, and that's just let them do it, and you don't take it to heart. When you don't strive for external validation, it can help build your confidence. But at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself, no amount of compliments will fill that void inside of you that really only you can fill. I've learned that, and this is not like a terrible thing, it's just human, but everyone values their own opinion the most. So you have to try and build that confidence and believe in yourself, because only you can do that. Of course, compliments help, but does it really? Anyways, getting off topic again, but I think what I say relates to not only art, but can relate to other aspects of your life. And I hope this helps anyone who's listening, or you just find this comforting, or for any other reason. I'm happy you're here. Thank you. Here's the finished drawing one more time, and thank you again for watching or just listening to my video and listening to me talk about whatever I talked about. And I know I didn't really talk about the drawing much, but I do plan to do more time lapses and probably tutorials in the future. So if you're interested in that, then please subscribe if you want to. But you don't have to. I won't be offended. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope that you got something out of this video and that it helps you somehow. So that would have made me accomplish my goal if it did with this video. So I hope to see you again. Thank you for being here, and goodbye. Bye bye.